this? I thought, I have got to learn to drink beer in case the president calls. And it wasn't easy, because first I had to tell my spouse that I was going to buy beer, right? Now, one of the things I'm going to suggest to you in dealing with your family is be as open as possible. They feel betrayed, and it's not helpful to do things behind their back. It's better to just let them know how big their loss is. It's better to just let them know, and let them know you're there for you, and that you won't go any faster than you absolutely have to, because they might need you to wait on some things, and you might be able to. And they might need you to wait on some things and you might not be able to. I see it all the time. People need to reclaim ownership of themselves, and the first thing people usually go for is coffee. Because coffee's healthy, and it's helpful, and it's better than prayer. And so they go for coffee, and then there's this huge, they can't explain why it's so important to them sometimes. I think it's helpful if you can explain why it's important. I have to feel like I own my own body. I've ascertained this is not going to harm me. It's not going to harm you. It's not going to harm anyone. And I need to reclaim my body, and I have to experiment. And coffee is safe. I'm not going to drunk drive. I'm going to drive with extra attention. I'm going to be awake. In a multi-chat. Wait. Anyway, so it's important maybe to let them know, because you know what? If you sneak behind and they find out you've been sneaking to Starbucks, and they have predictive coding that says you're going to also sneak out to another woman, or man, or animal. This fits the scenario, doesn't it? First it's coffee, and then they have the energy for the rest. That's what I got for Vincent. So be as open as you can with the people that you care about that it impacts. But then go ahead and do it. Confront that. I don't feel too much come up in me when I go to buy beer anymore. And so that's the little speaking about shame. Now, working across faith boundaries with grief and loss issues. I already mentioned be as open as possible, take some risks. I will tell you this, it'll probably go better than you think if you're willing to look at it carefully. And if you're willing to notice the little things that your brain wants to miss. Watch out for worthiness training issues. So you're going to watch inside yourself, but especially with your family and friends. Watch out. Express unconditional love. Try not to blame. I know it's so hard. You feel so frustrated. Try not to criticize the church to them, because their identity is tied up in it. Their identity, the parking lot of the church has been laid over their self. And so when they think of themselves, the church is a piece of them. And when you criticize it, the way they experience it is experiencing a criticism of self. So just keep that in mind. It's sometimes better to say, hey, it looks like this conversation, the things that I need to process are hurting you. I really don't want to hurt you. If you feel like you have energy to hear about it, that'd be great. But if you don't, I noticed notice when your family seems to be at a 7 or above, and back off. Be kind to them if you can. Other thing to do for yourself, you're going to be angry. The anger we've already talked about is good. It helps you fight shame. It helps you step up. It helps you do things. But with your family member, be vulnerable. Say, hey, I feel really hurt. I feel really betrayed. It's not you it's me feeling that. I'm not saying. Now your family members are going to hurt and betray you, because everyone hurts and betrays somebody. It happens. So when you feel threatened, try to be vulnerable. And the last thing is apologize and take a break. So in a fight, this is one of the marriage counseling tips. In a fight, you have about 1.5 minutes before it becomes completely useless. So if you're above a 7, there's no reason to talk about it. You're in fight or flight mode. And that's great if you need to kill your spouse. But it's not great if you want to live together for a long time. It's not great if you want to rescue your relationship. So it's okay to say, hey, I'm way out of control. I need a break. I've got to stop. I can't handle this. Get support for processing your anger. You're going to have to, I just can't emphasize this enough, you're going to have to be angry. Anger, I want to touch on this briefly, anger really activates it. Have you noticed? That's what I think a family member said to me, just don't be so angry. Anger really triggers worthiness training, because anger is a cue that I'm not okay with something in you. And so worthiness training teaches people who are inside the church that, well, if someone's mad at me, maybe that triggers that whole, am I not worthy? Are you telling me I'm not worthy? Are we not going to, this whole cascade of emotions. It's why I think Mormonism in general is anger phobic, and that's why it becomes passive aggressive. You can't do anything openly because it triggers everyone. So if you need to get your anger out, you have to sneak around behind and stab them in the back. Because then at least, they didn't get triggered and say, you're being a bad person because you're being angry and you're telling me I'm a bad person, that spiral. Last thing I want to put here is it gets better. I think we need an it gets better video campaign. So if anybody's up to the task, there's already lots of it out there, but it really gets better. The longer you go with this, life is so awesome. Where are we at time-wise?
Time for probably 2 questions.
Okay. We've got time for a couple of questions. I was going to show you a song, but I'm also a musician. I have some songs that are kind of related to songs. All right. This was really sparked by my work around the grief and loss tasks associated with transitioning. So I will play this for you. I won't sing it because that would be silly with the computer. I'd feel silly. But
Worthiness.
Oh, you so nailed it. I went past it. All right, how do I get this song to play? There it is. When it goes, it will leave your heart empty, no blood on your cross. No tablets of stone, it might be cold. Without the promise of redemption, you'll have to get by on your own. Don't turn back for what you couldn't find. There's no heaven dwelling in the past. Face your heart. And if the field is fallow, see what grows when it goes. Don't try to trade the seeds of your sorrows, they lie in that field. Now harrowed and sown, the tender stem, though slow to root, with time begins to grow. Face your heart, and if the field is fallow, see what grows when it goes. See what grows. It looks like we have like no seconds left.
Yeah, 2 minutes.
2 minutes. All right. So I'm gonna put my contact information up here. I'll post this on my website, on my blog that I don't write on as often as I ought to. And then you can also find our music. I brought some CDs if anybody wants to purchase them. They're over there. There are a few more recovery themed songs because I'm a songwriter and that's what came out. Do we have?
Mary stands.
And I want to, yes, thank you. This is my beautiful wife, Mary. The Gets Better video is that we were on opposite sides of this for, gosh, 4 years. Life is really beautiful. That was her playing the fiddle and singing beautifully on that recording. And I guess I better wrap up. Is there time for one question, or should we just... One question. Ooh. All right, go for it.
This song was talking about when it goes and looking to the future, not looking back. When you leave when you're much older, you look at the future and you go, there's not much left. In a lot of ways. And so it's really hard to look to the future when you don't see a lot there.
Well, you know, I think for me this song is a little bit more about looking to the present. Like just saying, okay, here I am. I need to be open to what's here. So I think hopefully it can speak to what you just asked about. So the question was, what do I do if I'm older and the future doesn't look very long? Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? You don't have the future. You have the present. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things inside of Mormonism. Everything's about the future because everything's about the system and its needs. And so there is no real, you get desperately impaired in your ability to sit with the present, love the present, be in the present. And all you have really is this one precious moment at a time where you can exist and breathe. And that's beautiful, I think, all the way up until it's gone. And who knows what happens then. I don't know, and I'm glad not to. So, all right, thank you very much. Thank you. I have a lot of heroes out here in the audience, and so thank you.
Okay, be back at 10:30.